this is going to be my personal experiences. Since graduating from Georgia College, I have been in one school. So of the experiences I've had, it's just one school. So this is just, I can't speak to other districts and other schools, but the things that I tell you I think might transfer to anywhere you end up. My contact information is over here. Please feel free to email me or call me, we'll get started. All right, so first I'd like to say, especially to our Georgia College cohorts, congratulations on a successful summit. I can't believe how much it has grown in the last 10 years, but when I graduated, I started teaching language arts and reading at Roberson Middle School in Johns Creek, Georgia. It's about 30 minutes north of Atlanta in the Fulton County school system. Shortly after my first year, I received my gifted certification, and I taught all levels. I taught inclusion with a co-teacher several years. I taught on-level, advanced, and gifted levels at 6th grade and 7th grade. Part of my roles as a leader that started here at Georgia College in the cohort program, I am the new teacher orientation leader for my school for the last several years. I was the talent and gifted coordinator for a school of 1,500 students, and the population of gifted is about 45%. So I was in charge at the sixth grade level of assessing and monitoring progress for all the talent and gifted students. I've done other things, but that's just some of the highlights for been so far. Okay, so what I'd like to talk about today is some starting points for you. So when going from how to get the job, when you get the job, your first weeks of teaching with your administration and colleagues, going into how you build relationships with your students, and then with your parents. And then at some point, hopefully at the end, if you have any questions for me, just like, hey, I've always wondered, but I didn't want to ask, but I just would like to know. If at that point you want to turn off the camera, safe place, that's absolutely fine. I remember one time I was presenting at GMSA, and it was for new teachers only, and Dr. Mizell came to listen. It should have been for new teachers only, Dr. Mizell. Okay, so starting with relationships with administration, the experience I've had with new teachers and trying to get a position in a school, I've been asked to sit on many interview committees. I've been asked to review resumes before the teachers come in. So a few things that I'd like to just give you a heads up about. When you are emailing a principal because you are showing interest in a school, do not send a form letter or a form email that says, "Dear principal, I am interested in your school. I have received my degree or I'm about to receive my degree. I passed this and this." When you address that person who you're showing interest, make sure you know them. Make sure you can speak specifically about the school. I have heard that your school, being the largest in Fulton County, has done some great things because I know about your CCRPI score. I know about your achievement on your latest standardized test. So whatever it is you can show the principal, first off, I am interested in you and your school. That means that for every school you're interested in, you're going to have to do some research. But if you're really serious about going to a school, that's one thing that would benefit. Make sure that your email is also grammatically correct. Have several people look over it. Some people you trust where they can just look over it. Okay? Now, mistakes happen. I submitted a proposal to NMSA a couple months ago, and I was denied. And I could tell as soon as I got it back. I thank you for your entry or your proposal. My title. I spelled the word mentoring wrong in my title. So I knew I wasn't going to get, and sure enough, I was denied. So it can happen. I just realized it wasn't meant to be for this interview. When you get an interview, and I'll talk a little bit later about a personal experience that I had with the interview, be prepared to ask specific questions about the school, because of all the interviews I've been on, they will always ask at the end, do you have any questions for us? You need to be prepared to say, yes, I was looking at your website and I saw that there were several teachers with clubs. what sort of clubs do you feel like you don't have that maybe you would like? And then when they say, we really wanted a golf club, I like golf, trying to find out something about the school that you can possibly add value to. If you can't think of a question, or you get nervous, you can always just say, I would like to know about your mentor program. What do you offer your new teachers either at the school or in your county? Because that should, well, tell me, what do you think that shows? If you say, hey, I want to be here in the first year, what kind of mentor program do you have to offer? What does that tell the people who are on the team interviewing?
That you're willing to grow.
Yes, and that's all. They're not looking for a new teacher who's an expert at everything, but they're looking for a new teacher who they can work with, who they can build a relationship with and watch the progression. Now, another interviewing tip when you get a position, or when you get the interview, is to be ready to speak about what you have done, or what you have seen a host teacher do, or something you learned that you plan on doing. Because a lot of times we'll have teachers come in and they get nervous, which is understandable. But when asked, so tell me about your behavior management plan. Well, I really believe that you should build positive relationships with your students, and when you build positive relationships with your students, everything is fine. Okay, that's a good place to start. But when you can say, well, when I was doing my student teaching for about 10 weeks, I came into the classroom and I noticed that my host teacher had a procedure for everything. She had a procedure for when the students were asked to use the restroom, when the students got up to sharpen their pencil. And I noticed that she didn't have any classroom management problems. When I become a teacher, or when I come to your school, I will have a plan that looks similar to hers. And you can name some of the things that you plan on doing. So you don't necessarily have to say, well, I don't have the experience, so I've never done it before, so I'll just have to figure out when I get there. You need to prove to them that you've thought about this in advance, and that I have either seen it, or I've read about it, or I've tried it and I failed, or I tried it and it worked well. Because that's what they want, that's what they're looking for. Things have changed, obviously, since I've been here, but by show of hands, are you familiar with the TEKS, the teacher keys standards? Okay, so things like differentiation and instructional planning, assessment uses. I know for my county, a lot of times they will ask questions specifically related to the standards. So tell me about a time when you used instructional planning, or tell me about a lesson that showed differentiation. Tell me with communication. Tell me about a time that you've had communication with a parent. So be ready to be able to speak to those standards. Okay, with my work with new teachers in our school, I'm very familiar with the phases that new teachers go through. It starts, you don't necessarily have to write this down, but it starts with the anticipation phase. This is, I've got the job, I know that school's starting soon, I'm going to do all these great things to change the world. And then it moves into the survival phase. You make it, you're here, you actually have the students, you're teaching them, but you're just surviving. You're just going through the motions. Okay? You're reaching out for help, whatever you can get. We hope. Then we fall into the disillusionment phase. This happens right around November, December. And then you have reflection and rejuvenation. Sometimes it flips off. Sometimes the rejuvenation can come first after your Christmas break. You can come back or after spring break, you're ready to go. But some of the things that I tell my new teachers is somebody can be in the survival phase for their whole first year of teaching. Or they can hit disillusionment very quickly. And that's okay. Because, like I said, you don't need to be the expert at everything. But as long as you know where to ask for help and who you can go to in the building to help you, that will get you through those phases. And every time I have, because the way we have our new teachers is they're assigned a mentor in the building, and when we go over those phases of a new teacher, and we mention the survival and disillusionment, all of the veteran mentor teachers are like, I'm in disillusionment right now, or I'm in survival right now. It's October, it's month of the young adolescent, we have parent conferences, it's the end of the first 9 weeks. I'm surviving or I'm disillusioned. So even for the new teachers to see, oh, these are veteran teachers who are going through this. You know, I didn't actually mention this, I guess I should, it was up there, but this has been a changing year for me because around year 7, I kind of got an itch, like I need to do something different, I need to grow, I need to do something more. And I had the opportunity to become a grade level chairperson over 35 teachers, because our school's so large, and I really enjoyed it. I found so much joy being there to support the teachers and helping them that I had some serious conversations with my administration. I'm like, maybe administration is the way I need to go. And they supported me, and they said, well, these are the things that we need to do to get there. But an opportunity presented itself, and I got the graduation coach position at my school. So not only my graduation coach, but I'm the RTI and SST and 504 chairperson for the same school that I started in. So it's a big job. Right now, I'm a little bit in the disillusionment phase, but being here and hearing all the things that all the exciting, and we're talking about this young, fresh energy. It's making me feel energetic. So I'm going to bring some things back to the school, and it's good. I put up here, pick your battles. When you're building relationships with your administration and even your colleagues, we've had some teachers come into the building who, I don't want to say they haven't played the game, but they want to come in and change the way that the school does things. Okay? And if you feel strongly that a school is doing something wrong, unethical, then yes, you need to do something about it. But if there's a group of teachers who are planning a certain way, and you just don't feel it, that's not how I do things. In your first couple of years, go ahead and participate. Because especially if it's a school that is doing something right, don't assume that you know everything. And make sure you at least participate and try not to change procedures for things. You can express, have we tried this, or have you thought about this? But you need to pick your battles, because you need to work with, especially your PLC and your group of content area teachers. Make sure you work with them and express to them, okay, this is maybe how I would have done it, but I'm gonna give this a try just because I should. Just make sure you just play the game, because picking your battles is important when you want to continue the relationships. Okay, I can only speak to the experience of Georgia College students at this time, because I can remember, well, some of it's a blur, but this time, about 10 years ago, many calls to my parents, I just want to quit. I can't do it. It's too much. They're asking me to do too much. And, sometimes we get to the point where my mother would have to come and take me to lunch and say, you'll be fine. To take me, downtown. But then when I became a teacher, and every experience that I had as an undergrad, when I couldn't see that there was a reason for it at the time, I then saw, oh, that's why they had us do it. That's why I had to go through all those things. That's why they made us do this and this and this. In my first year, I bought a car, bought a house, planned a wedding, and didn't cry once. Because I was so prepared with, I had put on a conference my senior year. Like, all the things that you're doing now, use your time management skills and have them transfer over. It's a lot easier said than done. But when in the coming months or years, when you are feeling overwhelmed, just know that there's a purpose and a reason. Okay? So if I can just be that hope for you. Well, when you get to your first year, and there will be teachers and veteran teachers in the building who say, fresh meat. I've always wanted to get rid of this responsibility. I'm going to find a new teacher that I can pass along. That happened to me. I didn't know what the responsibilities of the page representative for a school was, but I got that in my first year. because Ms. Smith asked me to do it. And I learned that saying no is okay, but you want to be tactful in the way you say no. No, I'm a first-year teacher. I was told that I'm not supposed to do that. But just say, you know what? Is there something about the page representative job that I can help you with that I feel comfortable I can do? Because right now it might be a little overwhelming given that I'm having these help sessions multiple times a week and I'm kind of trying to get my footing. So as long as you clarify the expectations, well, I can't help you with all of this, but could I help with this? Could I be a part of it somehow, but not maybe the person who takes full responsibility for it? And that's fine to say. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? And I put on here custodians, front office staff, nurse, and counselors. You need to be friends with all of them. You need to be respectful and sweet and well-mannered.
And bring them Christmas presents.
Christmas presents, or cards.
Cards, yeah.
And their mailboxes.
A homemade cake. So I'm serious. That's what we used to take. I mean, would take to them, and they appreciate it.
Yes, and they will appreciate you when you need something, or when you're in a bind. You're in the survival phase, and you forgot your keys in the car, and the custodian is working to do his rounds in the morning, and you need his help. He's going to help you if you have said, hey, everything looks great. It looks so good. Your team did such a great job. Thanks for all you do. They'll help you. Okay, I am so glad that Dr. Shelby said this, because I had this already, and it's true. That sarcasm has no place in a middle school. I think I'm a rather witty person. Funny, but I know when it's appropriate, and it's appropriate maybe in the teacher's lounge when no one is around besides adults, but anytime that there's a possibility that a child could hear it, sarcasm. So if that is your habit, if that is your pattern for talking, start thinking now, what is your alternative? Is it I just don't say a word? Or how will I get out of that habit? It'll take 21 days, as we know. But you need to get out of the habit of being sarcastic. The interesting thing about my school's population is we have a very high Asian population, with Indian and Korean being the most predominant demographic. So one of the things that's very important is, as a middle school teacher, you could teach 126 kids a day. But, well, at my school you could because we're so large. Teaching 126 kids a day, it's going to take time to learn their names. And you'll get better at it. And I was really good at learning the names, but one thing I was not good at, as soon as the year was over, they're on the bus to go home the last day of school, I've already lost your name. For some kids, I had to just remember it, but then as soon as I didn't need to remember it anymore, it was gone. But kids will try to be respectful and not correct you if you're saying their names incorrectly. But if you're saying the names incorrectly, that is a barrier to the relationship you have with them. If you're not even going to learn my name, why should I have this relationship with you? So even if you have to say, okay, how do you pronounce your name? And you write it phonetically on your roster, and then the next day you say it. Did I say that correctly? Is that how you said it? Okay, good. All right, good. And then just make sure that you're saying it. And if you hear another teacher talk about that student, and they're pronouncing the name differently than you are, okay, wait, I thought it was pronounced this. We need to get this right. Because he told me it was pronounced this way, and you're saying it this way. And a lot of times the other teacher's like, oh, I just never asked. I just, read it out. So encourage your other teachers to say their name correctly, because that's going to be important to the student. I put be honest with them and teachable moments, especially in the technology age. One of the things I'm responsible for in my new position is I administer or I facilitate some diagnostic testing. It's a program called STAR testing. So it's my job to do those tests, and when the internet goes down countywide and you're supposed to be administering an online test, you can choose to say, well, that's it. I guess we won't do it today. Just figure out something. Or you could say, huh, I thought this might happen. I was prepared. So I'm going to have this for us to do. There's no reason to get upset. There's no reason to let the students see, they can see your frustration, but you can use that as an opportunity to talk out loud about how you're going to problem solve. Because again, the relationship with the student will improve because for those of us who were here for the fireside chat last night, Dr. Stelby mentioned the kids who feel comfortable in your class to make mistakes, they will have a positive relationship with you if they know that you will make mistakes too. Because if they're in a classroom and they think their teacher can't make a mistake and that they're perfect, that they're gonna, they need to see that it's a teachable moment, that actually happened to me as a teacher. I had we're doing like the PRS system, was a personal response clicker thing where kids like put their answer in and shine it on the board and it would show their responses. It worked. Second, third, fourth, fifth period. I knew I was getting observed sixth period, which is why I did the lesson for that day, because I knew I was getting observed, so let me do this cool technology thing that I had done before. Sixth period? For whatever reason. There was nothing wrong with it. It didn't even need the internet for it to work. And it was, you know, in an observation. I mean, and I've gone from, when I started teaching, your annual evaluation was a result of, they came into your class 2 times for about 15 to 20 minutes, and at the end you got satisfactory, 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 or unsatisfactory. That was it. And now you have teachers who are getting observed in their classroom 4 times a semester, and some for a whole, you know, at least once for an entire class period, beginning to end. So that's, you know, there are going to be times when there are other people in the room, and it's not going to go right. I had a student teacher who, she again was trying something with the iPads, and I kind of felt bad because I encouraged her to do something, and on that day, it didn't work. But it was fine because she, you know, I talked to her in advance that you just have to be prepared for whatever comes, and if it doesn't work, then you just roll with it. And it comes easier to some to just roll with it, but if you can anticipate that you're not the kind of person that can roll with the punches, just start thinking about that. And as the Georgia College people say, just reflect on that. Okay. So, also with building relationships with students, one of the things that I found helpful was to find out from the students when they do something good, or when they feel proud of something, who needs to know about it? Is it just you? Like you want some recognition, maybe in front of your peers? Or is it a phone call to mom? Or an email to dad? Who is it that at this moment in your educational career, who do you think would benefit from hearing, John, you did a great job today? Or John, that project that you turned in was really impressive. Dear Mom, John's project was awesome. You should ask him about it. And if that's what John needs to have that relationship with me to know that I got his back, then you just got to figure out what that is. And if that means at the beginning of the year you just ask him, and you just make a little chart. Okay, that's an email, that's a call, that's a phone call, that's a postcard, that's a, you know, just have a list. And then asking them again in the second semester. Anything change? Anybody you want me to tell? Anybody you want me to contact that when you do something great? Because then they'll just let that slide through for a minute because let's see what's coming. Relationships with parents. Something near and dear to my heart these days with my new position. Okay. One of the things that is happening right now in my school is on Tuesday we have our first round of parent-teacher conferences. At the end of the first 9 weeks, grades were due today. So kind of these last 9 weeks have given the teachers a chance to kind of figure out who is it that we need to talk to, which parent we need to get in. So a lot of times when parents are asked to come in, especially in person, if you're dealing with a middle school student, it's probably not the first year or the first time that the parents have been called in for conference. So it's not like it just happened in 7th grade and you are the first teacher to say, I have a concern. So you need to be sensitive to that, especially in the middle school, because, and maybe even especially for those 6th grade teachers, because it's a transition into the middle school and this is almost like a fresh start. So you never want to, I can get it, but one of the things you can also do at the beginning of the school year is talk to your AP and your counselor about the kids who are coming in. Because whether it's from the elementary school or just even within your building, the rising 7th and 8th graders, you can just ask, who is it that I need to be offering positive encouragement to? And they will tell you. They will probably already have that list. And some people may think, well, I just want to let you get to know the students first, and I don't want to put any preconceived notions in your head. And I can understand that. But if there's just anybody I might need to just start out a positive with, so that I can be that adult in the building to help them, that's something you might want to just investigate in the beginning. And then in that first week, find something about that student that you can say positive. Not, I heard about you. You know, so-and-so warned me about you. Not that. But find something, and just, it doesn't have, don't make it fake. But just find something that maybe you can start that positive relationship with. Okay, so when you first get your job, and you're planning for your first year, you have your ideas of how you want to do things. You want to think about in your, with the team of teachers that you're teaching, whether you're teaching language arts, so you want to talk to your interdisciplinary team or your grade level team of teachers. Find out, how do they communicate with their parents? Is it best to email? Is it best to call home? Is it best to have them face to face? Will you plan in this day and age? I hope so. I'm using a website. Plenty of examples. Actually, if you go to my school's website, it is required that every teacher have a website that is up to date with the day's lessons, the homework, upcoming tests or quizzes, and a way to contact the teacher if there's a question. And that's all parents want to know, or even students at this age. They can be responsible for going on the website. If I forgot something at school, I forgot to write it down in my agenda, or I don't have it in my homework folder, I can go to the website and I know that the information is there. One of the things you can do is encourage your parents to have dinner table conversation. What we mean by this is not, did you turn in your project? Or Miss Roberson called and said that you got a 0 on the last 2 homework assignments. Dinner table conversation is something like, I heard in language arts you're about to be working on a persuasive essay. Why don't you persuade me right now to get you a puppy? So that came from me. I sent an email to all the parents saying, we have a persuasive essay coming up. Some of the key things about persuasive essays are getting a hook to get your reader's attention and providing a counter-argument. Here's what it is. So that the parents have the language of the standard, or they have the language of what's coming, and they can talk to their kids about it. And not pressure that I want you to write this paper tonight. Pressure that the project is due. But hey, I hear that you're learning this. Let's talk about it. Okay? Whether the parents are able to do that or choose to do that, you don't have control over that. But at least you can put it out there. Okay? The last thing says, think about don't respond right away. 24 hours gives you a chance to chill. You're going to get some emails that question your professional judgment, question a choice you made. You don't have to respond to that email immediately. And actually, if you get into an email conversation with a parent while you're supposed to be teaching, that's not going to look good either. Now, you don't want to wait longer. You don't want to wait, several days before you respond. But you might want to just take the information that comes in the email, confer with the teachers around you, or give you a chance to kind of gather what you want to say or how you want to respond. And if it's something that's really sensitive or really kind of out there, there's nothing wrong with sending it to someone else to look over. Is this an okay response? I mean, there'll be people in your building who can help with that. Also be careful with when you send emails to parents or multiple parents, make sure you're always blind copying, because you don't want a parent to respond all, and that way it just, when they reply, it just comes to you. So to blind copy when you're multiple, sending to multiple people.
BCC.
Yeah, BCC. Okay, in parent conferences, because you'll have them, I know you've already had possibly some experience with it. I call it the hard to swallow sandwich. It starts with say something good about the child, so you have to find something to say. Then after that, give them whatever the concern is or whatever it is that you would like for them to work on, and then you end with something positive. So you're sandwiched on either end of the conversation with I start out something good, something we can work on, get to the meat of it, and then end with something positive as well. Okay, it's just a nice structure. It gives you a chance to just lay out all the things you want to say. And then when you're communicating with parents, you also want to give them a chance to take responsibility or to have a part in a plan to help their child. So if that means, hey, mom and dad, what I'd like for you to do, for the next couple weeks, we're going to try this. I want you to email me every Thursday and let me know how it's going on your end. And then if you don't get the email on Thursday, Friday morning, say, hey, I haven't heard from you yet. Remember that conversation where not being rude or pushy, just keep them accountable for the things that they say they're going to do. Because when a student is struggling, you really do need all of the people in that child's life to work on it, okay, to show that you have a united front. And then when they are participating and they are helping in that way, just recognize that I see a difference and I think this is working, so let's keep this up, okay? Because they might not see that. Okay. What I'd like to do is first just talk a little bit about, because one of the things that I guess I didn't really get in my undergrad was sending emails to parents, practice sending emails to parents. So let's say, just a conversation first, and then I'll have you kind of break out. Let's say you're a social studies teacher. You've been preparing for weeks for a unit test. You've given the children study guides. You have provided help sessions before and after school. And Johnny gets a 49. He wasn't participating in class. His study guide was incomplete. He showed up to the help session with about 5 minutes left. But you post the grade on your grade book online, and a parent emails you saying, why did you give my child a 49 on the test? How would you respond? Why did you give my child a 49? Well, okay, let's say this. How would you respond in your head before that you wouldn't say?
Well, because that's what he was a guide. He didn't
do squat.
He didn't do squat.
You didn't meet the minimum requirements.
You gotta do that sandwich.
I also have wondered, well, I didn't give your child a 49 on the test. You earned a 49, but yeah, it's not here right. So yes, so you can do the sandwich. Okay, something along the lines of, well, I really enjoyed when Johnny asked some good questions about this specific topic, but when it came to completing the preparation and the work that he needed, I just didn't see it, or I didn't see him working with the other students to complete it. So pose a question to the parent. Did you see Johnny working on his study guide? Or were you able to answer any questions when I sent that email home letting you know that it was coming? Were you able to talk to him about it? So kind of putting it back there so you can start a conversation of, this is what I am doing to help, here's what you can do to help, and then here's where we're going to go forward. Because 49 doesn't show me that he learned. So I, as a teacher, need to be working on that. I need to get on that, but I also need to know that this, I need you to know these are the expectations. So, okay, so we'll have Q4 together. I have some sample emails. Some of them were initiated from a teacher and have a parent response. Some have a parent and then a teacher response, and some are just a teacher sending an email. So when you read it, there's two things: read from the bottom up, because they're actually from teachers in my building. I took out all references to names. But what I want you to do is, these are yours, read over it, highlight, underline, circle, and then think about what was the purpose of this email. What could have been better about it? What was good about it? And then how would, as a parent, how would they have received that information? Okay. So you guys take this one. And then you four can take this. Oh, really? And this. And then you three, you can take.
So would it be disrespectful to snap because it's out of period that you wanted to be
Well, one of the things I'll say is you can use your professional judgment, but if given a choice, I would not say to a parent, your child earned it